welcome today. I um I welcome you all, and we are excited to be here again. This is 54 African ambassadors of influence again in diversity show on OTV. You watch every Saturday 10 a.m. And we are back. Last Saturday we had a great show. By the way, my name is Patience, and I'm going to be with
Eli,
Ellie.
as usual.
Yes, how are you,
Yeah,
Ellie?
I'm okay. What's about you?
I'm good. How has the week treating you and
Yeah, the week was so good, especially the Liberation Week. Did
the
you celebrate
holidays?
it?
Of course, I had to.
Yeah,
I
okay.
had to, and it was amazing. You could see on the social platforms that it
Yeah.
was an amazing week.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I hope that the viewers has also had a great week.
Yeah.
And we are here again. We are here again to influence people, to impact people, to educate, basically give them the best in diversity show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you remember the last episode that we had?
Yeah, the last one was about poetry, the touch of
Yes,
poetry.
yes.
Um,
And let us take this opportunity to thank and appreciate the audience that have reached to us, telling us more how they enjoyed how and their thoughts about the poetry, the touch of poetry, and some got to like. I, I don't know if I told you about this person that came to me and told me about our guest that we had
mhm.
last Saturday. He was like he was so inspired. He was
Wow.
like he got to read some of
Mhm.
or his poetry in those books,
Mhm.
and it was amazing.
Wow.
And also, so we appreciate them. And also, speaking of the topic, we also have another topic today.
It is as we promised them to our viewers last time.
Yes.
We're gonna have part 2 of the previous one, the doors.
Yeah, I was going to
Mm,
remind them
okay.
that about the episode before the touch of poetry.
Yeah.
We had an episode which had a topic called "Dose for Depression,"
Yeah.
which was one of like my best and favorite episode and topic to talk about. I felt like I was really invested in the topic,
Mm.
and I hope that it helped a lot of our viewers and audiences
Yeah, and we promised them to have part 2 of it with the
with a
guest
guest.
in the who has a lot of experience in the matter. So our promise is gonna be the reality today.
So I don't think today we will have to take time to
Yeah, for sure.
introduce
Mm.
the topic of today and the names and I feel like we are going to have so much experience, so much like skills and knowledge about these. As we already have a guest today, we wouldn't come with the part 2 without a guest as promised.
Yeah.
So I hope that today we deliver all the answers to the questions that they had, like maybe from their daily life or from the part 1 that we did.
Yeah.
So I hope it is going to
We
be.
can make a short recap of the previous one, I think, especially
Yeah.
concerning the topic itself, the
Yeah.
symptoms, and then we will welcome the guest.
So in the part 1 of this show, those for depression, we mainly talked about symptoms.
Hmm.
We first talked about causes,
Mm.
if you remember well.
Yeah,
And I remember because I was the one to talk about the symptoms.
symptoms.
So I won't go very far with the causes. We are going to also have like more demonstration of them
Mm.
with our guest today, and but I can still talk about the symptoms that we saw earlier, and we saw that there is always, with depression, there is always a constant of fatigue, feeling tired every day, every part of the day, every hour, and it is not something that is going to like disappear. You will always feel that fatigue. And there was also like increase or decrease in appetite.
Yes.
uh, well, I won't go too much in explaining what that could be because we
Yeah.
already talked about it.
Yes.
And if we are lucky enough, we'll get to learn more. But there was also like a loss of interest in the activity that you once enjoyed. There is also like pursuing purposeless tasks. There was also a constant. No, there is like you get to develop like to having too much sleep or no sleep at all,
Yeah.
like sleepless or getting to sleep like the whole day.
So here I can just pick some of the
Yeah.
few statements I picked from the one is from the journal called Ibro Neuroscience Reports. They say that mood disorders can be considered among the most common and deadly debilitating mental disorders. Major depression, as an example of mood disorders, is known to be to severely reduce the quality of life as well as psychosocial functioning of those affected. It impact on its impact on the burden of disease worldwide has been enormous, with the World Health Organization projecting depression to be the leading cause of mental illness by 2030. You can understand. In Africa especially, about 29.19 million people suffer from depression. This was just published last year.
So you mean like there is millions of people only in Africa who are
Yeah.
going through these things?
Yes.
Yeah,
So
so which shows that it is a major,
problem
yeah,
worldwide.
yes, which if I heard you correctly, you said that it also get to impact like mentally in your mind, in your personalities.
Yeah.
Like it is something that is going to like change your social life, social activities.
Yes.
Like you can imagine if someone spends like a whole week in the bed, maybe he's not even sleeping, or maybe he's sleeping too much or gaining too much weight and appetite. It is something that is going to affect the social life,
Yeah.
which will also eventually get to impact the mind also.
So here again, as just I can mention the rate by countries of depression
In Africa or worldwide?
worldwide.
Yeah.
Amazingly, the most the top 10 countries with the highest rate of depression. We have Ukraine with 6.3%. Number 2 is United States with 5.9%. Estonia the same 5.9%. Australia the fourth with 5.9 also. Brazil 5.8. Greece 5.7%. Portugal 5.7. Number 8 Belarus 5.6. Finland number 9 5.6, and Number 10 is Lithuania with 5.6%. Then we have the top 10 countries with the lowest rate of depression. We
have lowest number of people have. Okay.
Number 1, we have Solomon Islands with 2.9%. Papua New Guinea with 3.0%. Number 3 is Timor Leste, 3.0%. Vanuatu, number 4, 3.1%. Kiribati, 3.1%. Tonga, number 6, with 3.2%. Samoa, 3.2%. Laos, 3.2%. Number 8. Number 9, Nepal, 3.2%. Then Philippines, 3.3%. You can see how actually African countries are in between.
Yes, but it has just left me with a question. Like you see that those countries that have low rates, they are the country. I feel like they have like lower population, and you look at like USA. It's ranked number 2 on the in countries that have the highest.
I don't think so. It is not depend on the number of population, but in percentage. Actually, which is surprisingly is that those who the so-called developed countries are with those with the high rate. I don't know why, but
hopefully we will get to understand what's with the bigger countries having high rates of depression. But well, it is what it is.
Yeah, but in Africa especially, the first one is Botswana with 4.9%, and in Rwanda we have 3.8%.
3.8.
Yeah, it's not too high compared to those top 10 with highest rate. So that is in short
the image of
depression
in the whole wide world,
to show how is a global issue.
And I feel like it is quickly racing to catch like all of us, or get to us all. And I feel like it shouldn't be that big of an issue if we get together and get to learn, get to know more about how we can prevent, how we can like treat, deal with the issue.
So I think our guest will highlight much more about it.
Yes, which makes me excited today, because just by hearing the causes and symptoms and different things about depression, you feel like it is an overwhelming issue. And it is very, I think it is very nice to get to understand how it can be prevented, how it can be treated, and how to live with it until it is finally vanished. So let's catch a short break, and we'll be back with the guest. come after this short break to bring you the guest of today, and he has already been in the studio, and I would like to warm welcome you in today's show as our guest, and we are honored to have you. Yeah, Dr. Ndagijimana. Yes, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and I feel like the people has Eddie has seen so much on the profile. He's an amazing person. Like if you get to care about those people, like suffering with those kind of issue, I feel like you deserve more honor and respect. And uh,
Yeah, I think I can just mention he has an interesting profile. I can't read it with now a few minutes. Just I can pick some of the his profile.
I feel
Yeah, yeah. Dr. Jean-Pierre Ndagijimana is the senior clinician for Solid Minds, and his doctorate and master's degree in international and multicultural education for the university from the University of San Francisco in California. He also did graduate studies in public health and completed his bachelor's degree in clinical psychology at the University of Rwanda. His interests are in post-genocide Rwanda recovery with a focus on stress regulation, training for mental, physical health. This is in brief. Mm, Maybe he can highlight some of other um,
of what he does.
yeah, concerning his long profile. So warm welcome again, doctor.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm happy to be here again,
yeah,
and thank you for choosing to discuss the topic of depression and the mental health in general.
yes.
It's a concerning issue,
Mhm.
and I always appreciate it when I see media and other platforms choosing to support the mental health needs
Yeah,
of the Rwandan population, but also African communities in general.
yeah,
Yes, I'm a, mental health specialist, in particular focus on clinical psychology.
hmm,
I'm also an educator,
yeah,
and basically, when I'm in the office, I'm a therapist,
hmm,
which means I do psychotherapies or counseling, seeing clients one on one, including those with depression most of the time. Um, but also, when I'm outside the office, I'm an educator, which can be not just in the classroom, but also you will see me on different platforms such as social media like Twitter. I use Twitter a lot for psych education,
mm.
Yes.
and I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Yes, and
Thank you.
we are honored, very, very honored to have you. And thank you for accepting our invitation. And I feel like we are going to learn more about this issue and everything concerned about it.
Mm.
So,
But before uh, deeping, diving deeper, um, here we have just a welcoming TikTok question.
they are
Just
the question which they
yeah,
do not cause any harm.
mm,
They are just there for us and the audience to get to know you better, but
yeah.
in form of TikTok
So
questions.
yes,
Just yeah.
you just mentioned that you are mental health specialist. Then my TikTok is Can a mental health specialist get depressed?
Yes, they
How?
can,
How?
because they are also humans,
Mm-hmm. Wow.
and we are not um immune
Mm-hmm.
to the environmental factors that influence or impact other people.
Yeah.
Uh, and we suffer as anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
We struggle as anyone else.
Yes.
But also we support people who
Mm-hmm.
are struggling
Mm.
everyday life.
Yeah.
So imagine if every day I'm asking about your traumas, I'm
Mm-hmm.
asking you about your depression,
Yeah.
I'm asking you about your failures. I'm trying to support you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I may at some point experience this compassion fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
I see you struggling, and sometimes things may work or may not work. So if imagine that compassion that one has every day,
Mm-hmm.
feeling like someone telling you like the saddest things they have anyone can ever have, and that's what's brought to us in our clinical settings.
Yeah.
So how can that not impact you if you are a human,
Yeah.
right? So if you take the stories we heard from other people
Mm-hmm.
plus our own struggles,
Mm-hmm.
it is it makes sense that also mental health specialists can be affected. There is what we also we call vicarious trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Vicarious trauma is the types of trauma that you have because you are exposed to someone else with the traumas.
Mm-hmm.
It's also called the secondary traumas.
Yeah.
So if I have an exposure, daily exposure to traumas and depressions and everything of sadness and suffering, it's impacting. At some point, to get into my skin. It impacts my heart. It breaks my heart when I see you suffering.
Mm.
So when you are taking care of mental health needs, it's no same thing as selling tomatoes,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's about people's
Lives.
life or death sometimes. So when you see that someone is even likely to kill themselves by suicide,
Mm-hmm.
how do I go to bed and not to think about you when you told me that you are suicidal, you are thinking about killing yourself, and I can't take you and bring you in my home,
Yeah.
right? Uh, the difference here is that we are also educated. The difference here is that while someone else may struggle and may not know how to cope,
Mm-hmm.
may not know what to do, may not know that they are going through mental health issues. For mental health specialists,
Yeah.
professionals, at least they are, the, when they are good at that, sometimes they're not, is
Mm-hmm.
being self-aware, knowing that I'm being impacted, and also I am equipped. I have the knowledge, but the knowledge may not necessarily mean that I'm not going to suffer.
Yeah.
It can only mean that I have or I'm aware of the tools that I can use to cope.
Mm-hmm.
And the only successful things in this is am I using those resources to cope? Or am I taken by, or am I uh, mm, losing the fight as I get lost in someone else's pains.
So it means that you get to see people, because depression can do that, or mental health problem, doing like what we call destruction. Like it can even make a specialist get depressed.
Yeah, again, if you see, let's say you see this gentleman here,
Mm.
he tells you that he, or maybe let me not say you,
Yeah.
myself. Let's
Uh.
say that I say, oh, hey, I lost my son,
Mm-hmm.
and actually, it's been 2 months since I divorced my wife. How do you feel?
Well, you get to have empathy for that person, and
Empathy for that person,
it
right?
gives you the feelings.
Okay,
Yeah.
now let's say tomorrow someone else comes and they say, you know, uh, I've been diagnosed of cancer and I only have 2 months and I will die. and I'm coming here so that you can support me in the next two
I'm even
months.
shaking with the example.
All right. So that is the
Yeah.
stories that we hear in
Okay.
therapeutic settings. Those things that they don't tell you because they think that, okay, you're not trained to support this person, or you may not keep confidential
Yes.
that information. You may not have the technique, you may not have the knowledge on how to support this person. Those are the stories that are brought to the therapists. And they ask, hey, help me. I'm suffering. You are the professional. How do I move forward? So those, when they are kind of coming 1 day, 2 days, a month, and your whole life, your whole professional life, it gets to impact your wellness as well. So it's not a surprise if you see a therapist also struggling. They are as humans as you are.
Yeah, which gets me to this question, like how did you even get to into this line of work,
Mm.
your career of caring on mental? It's just a curious question, and I still have way too many questions. You
Mm.
can simply in short tell us how you got interested in doing this kind of career.
This came when I was trying to reflect on what could be my contribution, as he read in my profile. How do I contribute to the recovery of Rwanda, particularly after the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi?
Yeah.
I could see the traumas really high, the depressions, and the other mental disorders being really a concerning issue. So I thought that how I can contribute, and my call is to support the recovery by addressing the legacies, the negative legacies, such as the impacts on our mental health, the community mental health, hopefully by supporting the mental health needs, by healing the broken hearts. It may help with um, the reconciliation, with peace, with development. So that's the background of my choice of focusing particularly on mental health and healing.
And we still appreciate you any day, every day. And I have another TikTok question, which is simple and short. It says that what is the best experience that you have gained so far in this journey? Like, you can give us a short scenario that made you happy or the best, you know.
There was a person some years back, probably 2 years, and this person was on his way to. He came on the social media, and he read what I was writing. And at the time when he went to the social media, his purpose was to delete his accounts, his social media accounts, because he wanted to kill himself and make sure that he has deleted his accounts. He read my work, what I do discuss on my social media accounts, and he texted me inbox and said, "Hey, I'm here, and it feels like you are the only person who can listen and understand my needs. I'm here telling you, not I'm not asking you to help me with anything. I want you to be the last person I can tell my story. I want to make sure that once I'm gone, you can tell my mom."
Gone from social media or
Gone means killing himself.
Oh.
I want to delete my account, social media account,
Mhm.
and then kill myself. That's why I'm here on this social media. He texted me inbox.
very curious. What happened?
And then what happened, I told him, can you take next 2 hours, and I want to learn more about how you are why you're going to kill yourself. And that process to keep the long story short,
Yeah.
the 2 hours led to, hey, give me 2 more hours,
Mhm.
in a way that we were actually even talking like every 2 hours, regardless of whether it is night or day. We had a schedule. I want to learn more. After the 2 hours, can we continue this conversation after the 2 hours? Later on, after some weeks, it took kind of, then we were like, "Oh, let's have a conversation later on. Like maybe was in the morning, let's have a conversation during the evening." Finally, the guy decided not to kill himself.
Wow.
He is now a happy married father, and that is one of the many stories that
Wow.
have that actually keep my heart uh, happy, despite those stories of pain.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
also I've seen so many people uh, at their worst. I've seen them, their knees almost down, and I see them also coming back.
Mm.
And those are the best memories that I continue to keep uh, dearly in my heart,
Okay.
and I believe sustain my interest in continuing to support people in their healing journeys.
Yes, and for specialists, I feel like it can be like the bright side of not get depressed with what they daily see,
Mm.
but get influenced and in feel strengthened with seeing people not being killed by this mental health, including depression that we are talking about.
Mm.
Like they get strengthened by people getting healed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Eddie.
Yeah. We have short time. Just we have the remaining three questions. Just I can, um, if you will, uh, just
You
answer
can
them
tell
shortly.
us if it is
Yeah.
preventable and
So,
how it can
mm,
be
so
overcome.
as we mentioned, in these days, depression is getting higher globally. What do you think are the real causes of it?
Well, no one knows the real causes of depression. No
Mm-hmm.
one.
Oh.
There can be reasons.
Mm-hmm.
There can be some reasons,
Mm-hmm.
but the real causes
Mm-hmm.
are not necessarily known.
Oh.
Can it be like your whole
Or,
life be the cause of your depression? Can it be?
yes, even before you were born,
Mm-hmm.
it can be part of it. The reason I'm saying is because the one can be depressed. One may lose their parents, two people
Yeah.
lost their parents. One
Mm.
get depressed and the other one is
Yeah.
not.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say that, so that's to say no one knows. There are many factors. There are many factors. So there is loss, as I said in that example,
Mm.
whether you lose your loved ones, death, uh, resources, um, violence, abuse, failures in relationships, unemployments and poverties. Those are some of those factors, but are not necessarily the cause.
Yeah.
There are so many factors that come to make the outcomes that we see, but you can't say with a certainty and say this is the cause of depression. It is not 1 + 1 = 2. There's
Wow.
so many factors coming to make the impact that you see.
So can depression be preventable?
Sure,
Oh.
depression can be preventable,
Mm-hmm.
but not 100%.
Mm-hmm.
There are factors that can help in prevention. There are things that are also you don't have control over. And some research, big research, have shown actually that major depressive episodes can be prevented like in a range between 22 and 38%.
Mm-hmm.
Can be preventable. So preventable in a sense that yes, there are things you don't have control over. You may lose your parents, as an example.
Yeah.
but you have a social support. You have your aunts, you have your uncles, you have friends, your classmates. Those people are caring.
They
So
can
that
help
is going
in
to help
prevent.
in actually, it's not necessarily preventing, it is building resilience so that those situations, those do not break your heart. Or
Yeah.
when your heart is broken, they may also help in your healing journeys. So there are those factors that can put your life at a higher risk of developing depression, but also there are those resilience factors that comes to mitigate
Yeah.
or change the fate for something that could break your heart. Some people are coming with the social support, with the material support, with everything that is needed to make sure that you don't develop depression, or when you develop it, the healing process uh, gets to be easier with those resources available.
Talking about healing, how can like depression be the
Yeah.
therapeutic tips for
Yeah.
overcoming the depression? Tell us.
Depression, I'm glad that you had already discussed the symptoms. It's basically looking at how do you cope with those symptoms.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you look at in four or more ways. One is, do you have a social support,
Mm-hmm.
which will help you? One of the worst symptoms of depression is isolating,
Yeah.
is the sense of loneliness,
Mm.
is the sense that of the emptiness in your heart or the heaviness in your heart, the sense that you are a useless person, the feelings that you are hopeless.
Yeah.
So when you get a chance to have the social support, to have the caring people, whether they are the classmates, whether they are the people you sing the same choir, or your workmates, the people you go to the same church, or whatever, the people coming, or your neighbors coming and saying, hey, we are here for you, and we know that you are important, you are not useless, you are worth of life, of everything, of our attention. That is one way of supporting, and it is one of the most effective way, even sometimes way more than therapeutic processes in terms of a clinical setting.
Mm.
Because you
Yes.
may come to my clinic,
Mm.
I will help you one on one,
Mm.
but you go home, the people who are supposed to care for you, I say, hey, get over it. You
Like
should even the other people who are poorer than you, as an example, there are people who, you do have two parents, someone else don't have even one parent, and they are okay. Those are the things that we want to make sure the social support, the people around you are caring enough that they can understand how to support. And one part of the coping, again I say, the social support, but also there is people knowing, being aware, knowing the symptoms, knowing how to live with someone with depression.
yes.
And third is the person themselves who are depressed, um, learning how to cope, like the self-care strategies.
Like you are the first doctor to treat yourself.
Yes, especially when you have a supportive community.
Yeah.
The self doc, I mean, being your self doctor is something that I find to be more of the Western
Mm.
world.
Mm.
When I'm in the US, the self care is what I say a lot in my interventions with people, because that is the culture, one on one.
Yeah.
Yeah, or myself, I can do things on my own. But in the Rwandan cultures, in the African cultures, most of the time is the community,
Yeah.
your neighbors when they are caring, your friends, the people you go to the same church, when they are caring, you're going to be okay. But when you say, okay, you are the one to take care of yourself, you feel alone, you get lost, you do bad things in your rooms when you are hiding from other people. And finally is, of course, when you have depression, is a serious illness. Depression, when there's a clinical depression, one can be sad, that's one, but it's different from depression. The sadness is the everyday ups and down.
Mm.
But when it is depression, it is an illness. And that means you also need to seek a professional support,
Yeah.
because for them, they are also going to, they are the people you can tell your darkest secrets of pain. They're
Yes.
the people who can guide you and tell you, hey, you know, this is what you're going through. You're going to tell me your secrets and whatever the painful, and I'm not going to tell anyone. And I will keep it in my heart. I will never tell anyone.
Yeah.
And I will also help you in the steps, in the process. Take your hand and I will walk, metaphorically, I will walk with you in your healing journey. So that means make sure you also seek professional support.
Yes, and
Yeah.
thank you so much. And I feel like we have learned so much, and sadly the time isn't on our side, and I feel
Yeah.
like we can talk more about this, but yeah, I have nothing to add. We have heard
Just
from the professional.
to thank our doctor for the gift time.
Of course,
You're
definitely.
welcome.
Thank
You're
you so
welcome.
much.
Thank you.
Yes, so I hope next time you will accept our invitation.
Yes.
And to our viewers, we hope to see you next. And kindly comment on our social media platforms. Those who have questions, thoughts, and any other, just reach out to us, and
Yeah, that's
we
all.
will see you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah.